everyone, and welcome to the Exceptional Educators Playbook. Today, we are going to be introducing Ms. Beverly Johnson. I am Ms. Stephanie Kidd, Math Consultant here at KVEC.
And I am Cheryl Mathis, also from KVEC, and I'm the Low Incidence Consultant here.
Well, the purpose of this podcast is to offer professional learning opportunities to meet the needs of our teachers, while giving teachers a platform to share their experiences and their expertise. Every month we highlight a different topic, and this month happens to be goals and objectives. Each week we do a different one. So week 1 would be literacy. Week 2 is behavior. Week 3 is mathematics. And week 4 is social emotional learning, right? Yep. For LI.
Yep.
So today we're going to talk about developing goals and objectives and making accommodations in the low incidence community. So that's what we're going to work on today. And we're excited to have Miss Beverly Johnson from Carr Creek. And I love talking to her. She's wonderful.
Yeah,
absolutely. And she's going to share with us today about her students and how she balances their needs, their goals and objectives, and how she uses paraprofessionals to help with her students' learning.
All right. Welcome, Beverly. So glad you could join us today.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome.
It's nice to talk to other people in the field and see what other people are doing too.
Definitely so. It's such good information, and I love hearing different ideas from different folks, and so it's pretty cool. So Beverly, let's start out talking a little bit about goals and the process you go through to write goals for your students. I know this time of year we've got lots of folks updating IEPs and just going through their data. So what is the process you go through to write goals for your students?
When I see that it's about time for a new IEP to be due, we do a review of our progress monitoring data, and then we also look at, all of my students do the alternate standards. We look at those, what are coming up, and break them down into basic skills that they might need to achieve those goals. And then I use the training that Denny Paul did on developing an IEP, kind of like a guidebook to writing good goals, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that video you're talking about, it's the one that's posted on theholler.org, so anybody can see that, and we'll put a link to that on the video here, and so that everybody can go back and look at that. Yeah, that's a great video that Denny Paul did.
Yeah, I like it because it's step by step. If you're looking for like a certain section, like the PLEP, you can go back and review that section to see what it is that we're supposed to have included in there.
Yeah, it's a great tool. We just came out with that tool, I think it was back in the fall, wasn't it? It was released maybe sometime around October. So you can get a copy of that and review the video to hear what Beverly's talking about, but it's pretty cool. All right, so talk about the tools and resources, Beverly, that you use when you're developing those goals. What are some of those?
Well, this year where we've been virtual, we've used a couple of different things. We've used RAS Kids for reading literacy. We've used IXL for some of the goals and objectives, and also for some of the new alternate standards. And a lot of the stuff, like if it's a new goal and we're not really sure where the child is, a lot of times we have to develop our own baseline material to work with. And we also have used the STAR autism program for it depends upon what the child needs as to what tool we might use.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and so that STAR, we've had that training here at the co-op a couple times, and I find that it comes up pretty regular in these podcasts. I think almost every time that we did an LI podcast, or at least close to it, that's come up. So, and that stands for Strategies for Teaching Based on Autism Research. So if you haven't heard about that, definitely check that out. And it's actually a box kit, and it comes in 3 different boxes, and they're like pastel colors. I'm thinking one's like maybe a peach color, and one's mint green, and maybe one's blue, maybe. Am I right? Lighter purple? Okay.
The one we have.
Yeah. So
it's a really good program.
Yeah. So
also the Teach model has a lot of good stuff too.
Definitely so. So check that out. And the reason I mentioned about the boxes and what color those are is that you may have those sitting around and you may not even know that you have them. So definitely look for those in the boxes. And so what color did you say they were, Beverly?
I think Air version is one of the older versions.
Uh-huh.
I know there's a new updated version out, but we have yellow, green, and purple.
Okay, so still pastels, and I can't remember what color.
Yeah.
I know they're pastels, so yeah.
Yeah, they are.
So yours may be a little bit different color. I can't remember how the color scheme goes, but look around your classroom if you're new and see if you've got those. So that's pretty cool to notice that. So it's so tough, Beverly, to balance the needs of the students and our goals and all the functional needs that they have and progress monitoring and just day-to-day classroom kinds of stuff. So tell us a little bit about how you balance the needs of each individual student, because we know in our classrooms the needs are so very different for each of our students.
I guess the way that we do it is that we spend time getting to know the student, getting to know what their needs are, and developing a relationship with them first. And then, like you said, there's so much that we have to put into our day, like working on their IEP goals, and they still need the functional goals and their alternate goals. It's like we work on something for a while, and then, you know, maybe take a break, work on social skills. But for every child in our classroom, it looks different what they're doing, you know. I couldn't do it without our paraprofessionals, you know, working with them. They're, you know, they're as much a teacher in the room as I am, you know. You know, I don't think you should ever ask them to do anything that you wouldn't do yourself. You know, we're a team. I have a very good team this year, but it just kind of looks different for every child's kind of doing their own program throughout the room.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Definitely. So I think the paraprofessionals, I know we can't do it without them. They are so valuable. And another thing I love that you said is about building those relationships. And as we go into the end of this school year and the beginning of next school year, you know, that relationship building is going to be huge, and it's going to be so valuable, especially for teachers who may be brand new, just starting out maybe this year, because it's been, you know, a different year. So definitely, do you approach that relationship building, you know, even more so at the beginning of the school year?
Well, the staff that I have with me now have been with me for years. But when a new person comes into our program, we just spend time just getting to know them as a person, you know, because each one of the paraprofessionals in this room have different gifts. Like one might be better at bonding with the children, one might be better with paperwork, or one might be better with this or that, you know. It's just getting to know them as a person and finding out maybe they like doing art projects, or you know, whatever it is, so that everybody has a buy-in to the classroom and feels needed and appreciated, you know. But building relationships is very, very important.
Love that. Yeah.
I mean the paraprofessionals don't get paid nowhere near what they're worth, you know. So, I mean, you know, like I do little things like, it's been a hard day, make sure they have their break first, or make sure that they get a lunch break, even if I don't. You know, just saying thank you, you know. But, you know, it's very important to appreciate and understand what all they do for you and the children.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that information that you just gave and that advice will go a long way for folks that may be new, or maybe they don't even have a job yet. Maybe they're waiting on a job to become available. So I think that's such great advice. So thank you for sharing that, for sure.
Sure.
So we talked a lot about the paraprofessionals. And so how do you use those folks when they're working on those IEP goals?
The way that we have it set up is when we develop an IEP based upon what the child needs, and also maybe what the parent would like for the child to work on. We set up a system where each child has a binder with their IEP goals, and each paraprofessional will work with one or two children throughout the week doing their IEP goals, and I kind of monitor what's going on, because we have like 13 kids in our classroom. So it's kind of like we have a system for everything. You know, so we work on the IEP goals daily, and we monitor them once weekly.
Yeah, that's great. I love it when you have a system, because we know, especially in FMD, that if you don't have a system and you don't have a plan, it probably ain't going to get done just
No,
because.
you have to have a system.
Yeah. So I love that. I love that you said you have lots of different systems. That's pretty cool to
Yeah.
be able to do that. So new teachers definitely take heed to that. If you need to get something done, develop a system and put that into your daily schedule, definitely so, to get that done. So could we talk a little bit about IEP goals, and if you instruct those in small group, individually, or in combination, and kind of how you go about that instruction of those IEP goals? You've hit on it a little bit, but you want to expand?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to think. Most of our things is individually or small group for IEP goals because they're so individualized. The small groups probably would come in more for like the alternate things, but usually it's probably more individualized. Yeah, I mean, like in the mornings we do like a group calendar and activity thing and work on goals that may not necessarily be in everybody's IEP, but that's a group time that we have, or if it's a group art project or something like that. But like if two children had the same goal of learning to count money, we may put them in a group to work together. But it really just depends on what goals each child has that year as to how we do our instruction.
Yeah, and I love that, because all students are different, and that's why it's individualized. So definitely, that's so cool. It's such an awesome way of saying that. So what are some of your go-to resources for progress monitoring for those goals? What kind of resources would you recommend to new folks, or some veteran teachers maybe?
I have to say that the majority of things we do, we make ourselves, and adapt them. We have a lot of children with a lot of complex needs. And so, I mean, I'm sure that there's materials out there, but a lot of times we end up developing our own materials.
Yeah, I love that. So I guess those materials are based on the kid and the goal that
based
child
on the
has.
kid. I mean, like reading comprehension. I mean, for a child that can read some maybe like read works, but even then we adapt them. It really depends on the child and what their needs are, is where I might go to find what they need.
That's really good.
I think it just would vary from classroom to classroom, getting to know your students and determine what they need.
Definitely so. All right, so we've talked a lot about new teachers and some advice for those new teachers, and I think that's key for veteran teachers like yourself, who has been at this for so long, and it's just as normal as breathing when you go in to run that classroom. But what's some advice that you may have for those new teachers that may be overwhelmed, or they may not even really know where to start, especially next year when we're going into hopefully an in-person model? It's it's what we're all hoping. But what is some advice that you might share with those folks just to get them started?
I would say if you're a new teacher or even a veteran teacher, that when the school year starts, is take time to get to know your children. Take time to get to know the staff working in your room. You have to meet their primary needs before you can even ask them to work for you. Definitely have a sense of humor. Be flexible. If you're working on a schedule, write it in pencil, because it'll change 5 million times.
You get you plenty of pencils.
it will definitely change, and just be able to adapt to change, be able to laugh at yourself, be able to say, I was wrong about that, maybe we should try it this way. But most of all, importantly, is get to know your staff, get to know your students, get to know your parents, and just enjoy it, and learning will come.
Yeah, I love that. Get to enjoying it. That's pretty cool. Because I think we all need to enjoy our job, and I think it goes way better if you do enjoy your job and enjoy the students and those folks around you. I think that's pretty cool. So definitely,
it's all about the kids. That's why we're there. That's why you should be there.
Definitely so. All right, Beverly, is there anything that we kind of missed that you would like to share, or some advice that you'd like to give to the teachers, or something that you just want to share that maybe we missed?
I can't really think of anything. I think that, you know, to be a teacher of students with special needs, I mean, it has to be something that you enjoy doing when you get up every morning. And you know, the kids are so different, and every day is like a different adventure. You never know what's going to happen. You know, I mean, this is my 21st year, and I can honestly say that I like it as much today as I did the first day I did it.
Oh.
You know, but you know, just remember why you became a special ed teacher. I think even when the days are long and hard, that's what'll get you going the next day.
Yeah, you know, that would be kind of cool. And I just thought of that as you said that, remember why you became a special ed teacher. But, you know, wouldn't it be cool as an opening activity with yourself and your paraprofessionals to sit down and just have a talk about, okay, why are we here? Do we have a love for children? Or, you know, what are we here for? Why did we go into this business? I think that would be a super cool, just get to know you kind of activity over some, you know, hot dogs and I don't know, a Coke or something like that. So definitely might be a good little activity to get to know your paraprofessionals and them to get to know you, especially if you have some new people on board.
Beverly, if you were talking to a new teacher and this new teacher came to you and said, and this is kind of just a recap, I need to write this goal for this student, and where would you tell them to start?
Oh, that's a good question.
I mean, how would I tell them how to write the goal?
Yeah, where would you tell them to start to look for just to write a goal for the student?
I mean, like exemplars of it, or I mean, like you mean like they've already collected baseline and stuff?
Well, even if they haven't collected the baseline, where would they start?
Well, I would collect baseline on the goal to see if it was even an appropriate goal for a student.
Okay, and then what would you tell them to do?
After the baseline, I mean, I would try to determine if it was something that was functional and meaningful for that student.
Awesome.
Good.
Definitely so. Definitely so. And always, of course, like you mentioned in the beginning, that IEP guidance document, Denny Paws is cool too. So definitely so.
Yeah.
And for me, I know when I was writing goals for my students, getting to know them first was my first thing.
Yeah.
And talking to that parent to find out what were some things that, they felt like they needed to have.
Yeah.
And I think that relationship, like you had talked about before, not just with your paraprofessionals, but with your parents.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, every IEP meeting, I always ask the parents if there's anything that they want us to work on, because we're all a team together.
Yeah, definitely so. I love that. We're all a team together.
Yeah,
definitely so. And I want to put you on the spot. Last time, tell us a little bit about your and I may not be calling it right, but your thing in your special needs fair that you usually have in April, which I would imagine you're not going to have that this year. But so, could you tell the folks about that and how you started it?
Yeah, this would have been our 12th year. 12 years ago, a parent came to me that she had a child that had a cerebral palsy and autism. And she wanted to know if we could develop a venue where parents could get together and talk and share information about, about their children and to learn more. And kind of out of that grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. So the last time we probably had about, I'd say 300 or 400 people there, wouldn't you, Cheryl?
Oh yeah, it was packed
or more.
There's nowhere to park. There's nowhere to sit. There's nowhere to stand. It was a packed house. Beverly can throw a party.
But basically what it is that different groups would come and set up tables and give out information. Like if you had a child with a disability, about like Michelle P. Wave or whatever. And then we started including other people from the community, like our fire departments and sheriffs, because that spread awareness to them. And then we would have like a showcase student talent where the children would get up and perform. And like Cheryl said, it was a big party.
Oh yeah.
But from the first year to when we had to stop because of COVID, every year it grew and the word spread. And last year, like we would have to call and say, would you like to set up our table at our event? Whereas the last few years, people were calling us wanting to set up a table at our event.
Yeah, definitely so. But one of the things that I love, the kids get up there and they do some of the most awesome things. And some of the kids who are a little bit lower functioning get support from other kids. And so some of my favorite things over the years have been kids telling jokes and kids singing songs. There was one student back a few years ago that came a couple years, maybe in a row, and played a guitar. Was it Elvis music he was singing, or it was kind of some of those older songs, and he just really got into it, and it made him so proud of himself. And you could just see it, and some of the kids would dance along to the music, and when they got off that stage, you could just see how proud they were of themselves. So definitely something that if you're looking for a big event, or maybe looking for an activity to do or a project to do in your school, that would definitely be something I would recommend, because it's good for parents because they can get all that information at the tables, but then you've got all these kids on the stage, and the parents, oh my goodness, the parents are so proud of their kids as well for getting up there, and they do skits, and I'm thinking there was a puppet show a couple times.
Yeah, there was.
And of course, Beverly has food at the end. There's all kinds of cake, and there's all kinds of fun stuff. So
another thing that we did was we get like the Beta Club, different groups within our school, for those children to like help us set up and to do things that night, so that increases more awareness even within our own student body.
Yeah,
we've done that before too.
So if you want to do a special needs night in your school, definitely get a hold of Miss Beverly Johnson. She can lead you in the right direction. I think it'd be a cool thing for your kids and for your parents as well.
Oh, I think it's wonderful, Beverly, what you do with those kids. I've been now for 3 years. Well, been going to go last year, so 2 years. But I loved every moment of it, and it was great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Thank you.
It was one of the best things I've been to. And I've been a lot of years. I don't know how many years I've been, but probably a lot of the years I've been there. So definitely.
Hopefully next April we can be up and running again.
And here at the co-op in about January, we start talking about when is this event, and so we definitely always try to check on that. But that's really how good our staff enjoys it. Even though it's an after school activity, we put it down in our calendars pretty early on, because we want to make sure that we've got our ducks in a row, and we've got all of our information and our little trinkets. We usually give out some rubber duckies or pins or keychains or something like that. So in fact, last year when COVID hit, we had our stuff ready to go, and we still have it ready to go. So we are definitely looking forward to giving that out to kids and parents. So Miss Stephanie, I'll turn it back over to you with that.
Well, I want to thank you for joining us for this week's session of the Exceptional Educators Playbook, and I'm extremely excited today about having Miss Beverly with us. And just to recap some of her things, getting to know your students was a big thing for her, and the time and effort, I want to say, that Beverly puts into each and every child, that is amazing. She does a terrific job with her kids, and I appreciate how she treats her paraprofessionals, because she mentioned in there, don't have them to do anything that you're not willing to do. And so that's awesome. And how that she develops her materials and also a system to manage these goals and to monitor them weekly is fabulous, because it's truly individualized. And then also to discuss the fact that we have to meet those kids' primary needs first.
Absolutely.
And we have to do that not only with kids, but with people in general. So those are some big takeaways that I took from this today. And if you want to get a deeper understanding and resources and those kind of things, you can always visit us at theholler.org. And you can email Miss Cheryl Mathis.
Yes, definitely, anytime.
And hers is Cheryl Mathis at theholler.org. You can also visit our Facebook page. We have several things on there. And that is KVEC Exceptional Children, or KVEC. And you can visit, of course, like I said before, theholler.org. Next month, we will be talking about specially designed instruction.
Exciting, and it should be an exciting time.
So until then, we'll
holler at you later. See you guys.